All right, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for us to enter an enlightening panel discussion on the crucial subject of preventing fraud with AI in banking, insurance, and blockchain. As our financial and insurance systems become more digitally intertwined, the role of artificial intelligence become pivotal in identifying, predicting, and mitigating fraudulent activity. Through advanced algorithm and machine learning, AI aids in real-time fraud detection by recognizing irregular patterns and anomalies in transaction, protecting both institutions and clients. Furthermore, the integrations of blockchain technology introduces an incorruptible and transparent ledger that boosts accountability across the entire financial ecosystem. So right here in this round of panel discussion, our distinguished panelists will unravel the synergistic potential of this innovation, illustrating how they collectively fortify the defense against fraud while ensuring a trustworthy and secure financial future for all. So right here in this session, we have our moderator, our Vice President in International FraudTech Business at TrustDecision, Mr. Vaibhav Khandelwal, together with our panelists, Head of Center Smart Nation Technologies, MIMOS, Mr. Kang Siong. Not to forget, we also have Mr. Trevor Lok, Chief Fermion Ecosystems in Fermion, to join us on stage. Let's welcome the gentlemen. Over to you.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear us all the way at the back. We have got two luminaries in the space of industry as well as private-public sector collaboration here with us today. I would like to invite Kang Siong, representing MIMOS, and also Trevor Trevor Lok from Fermion, leading insurance solution provider. I'm Vaibhav Khandelwal, VK for short. I represent TrustDecision, and it's really a privilege to be speaking with these two gentlemen and interacting with all of you today. We've had a fantastic agenda today. We've covered topics like inclusiveness, corporate innovation, SME credit lending models, as well as industry inputs and ESG right now. And one thing common you will see across all of these great new initiatives is what do we do if there is an incident of fraud or if there is a bad person? How do you detect intent? So we will talk more about this in this panel. Firstly, I would like to invite Kang Siong and Trevor to please introduce themselves in terms of their role and what is their charter right now in the organization. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm from an organization called MIMOS Berhad. It is a research agency under Ministry of Science and Technology. And MIMOS, we does the research all the way from semiconductors. We have a fab doing the material research, fabrication research, to embedded system or IoT system devices, and to a smart nation technology, where under that center of excellence, we do research in AI, blockchain, and information security. So I'm currently heading that center of excellence.
Great. Thank you. Great to have you on board.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Trevor from Fermion. We are part of the Silver Lake group of companies. We do software for insurance. Yeah. Specifically, I also run the general insurance arm of Fermion Merriman. Yeah. And I think in our solutions, we think of them as three main components. One is insurance sales, one is insurance claims, and the final component is actually AI tools. And I think the third one is what we're going to focus on today.
Great. Thank you. Fantastic. So let's dive straight in. I'll first come to you, Kang Siong. What are some of the AI initiatives at MIMOS that you're most excited about? We know there's a great booth and representation outside. Very engaging. I could see a lot of people there today interacting with your teams. And what AI projects from where you are, your unique vantage point as a R&D innovation center for citizens and for Malaysia. What projects do you think would be most impactful for individuals in general, for citizens?
Thank you. In fact, some of you may have visited the MIMOS booth out there. So one of those are actually robot vehicles that can automatically move around in the oil palm plantation. And we use AI to track the routes and be able to plan its own route. And they are able to look into the palm oil, whether the fruits are ripe, and we can map the entire plantation and be able to identify where are the trees that are ready to be plucked. There's one of the AI research. The other AI research we are looking at is be able to do a sentiment analysis based on social media data, and also use the AI to be able to generate code, where we can do a code generation automatically. And we are exploring using the AI, ChatGPT Lite AI, where we can put in all the company's policy, rules, and regulation, and we are able to see how that can interact to the end user so that they can ask natural language questions. For example, they want to ask certain things, and the AI will be able to generate answers, how to go about doing certain things, and so on and so forth. We hope by doing that, we are able to train the AI model so that we are able to suppress some of the biasness, and so that it becomes a responsible AI. So this is a constant research they are working on, how to certify that AI is actually a responsible AI with a certain parameter set. It is a problem where a lot of AI researchers is trying to struggle how to do a certification on the AI principles. Right?
Fantastic. I think one of the key words you said there was responsible AI, and I think we haven't had too much discussion on that, but I think you're bringing in a lot of unique local insights to make sure that AI models are trained to be useful for people in Malaysia, for citizens here, and that's, I think, a very fundamental building block in adopting AI technologies. Coming to you, Trevor, I think financial inclusiveness, insurance is a very big part of that, as well as making insurance accessible to individuals across different categories, general insurance, health insurance, etc. So what are some of your AI initiatives right now at your organization? What are you excited about when it comes to AI and insurance?
Yeah, I think for us, there are quite a few initiatives going on now. Two of them are already products that we sell to help our customers. And we have 150 insurance companies using us across 10 markets. And one of them, a big one, is actually fraud detection in claims. And I think your lead-in was inclusiveness. Fraud increases premium for everyone. Yeah, so it is something that makes insurance less inclusive. And of course, we have tools geared towards fighting fraud. And for instance, in Malaysia, right, I think one big success story is that we are always very happy to say is motor insurance claims. About 30 to 40% of the claims in Malaysia now are scanned by our fraud detection AI. Yeah, so it is in the background. I think the general public doesn't know it, but we feel that this is our contribution. That is fraud. The second big pillar that we have is on computer vision. So for insurance, oftentimes the assessment of the damage is used using videos and of course photographs. And a human look at the video and photographs. So computer vision is one big part of what we do, and we try to help the human make better decision by our computer vision AI. So for instance, a very simple one is you have a property damage. Oftentimes, a person needs to go onto the site to evaluate the damage, eventually to figure out the payout. Yeah. So for us, one thing that we do is you can take a video, yeah, or a drone video, and that video feeds into the computer vision AI. Perhaps not directly bypassing the human. Oftentimes, it's not like that, but certainly helping the human that is actually making the final decision. So that's the second one. And today's conference is post-ChatGPT, right? I feel kind of obliged to at least say one or two ChatGPT ones. Now, in terms of a large language model, this one is not yet a product, but something that we are exploring. It is actually contract evaluation. So the insurance policy that you have is a contract, right? When you have a claim, there are circumstances surrounding the claim described in your police report or your claim. And given that circumstance, given the contract, is the insurance company liable to pay? So that is a question, right? It's a legal question. And that's something that we are working on. And the second one, I think might be of interest to everyone. And I think besides just Fermion, I think a lot of other companies are attempting this. It is actually helping your programmers write code, using ChatGPT. Why I brought it up is perhaps just a little bit of sharing. To have your own language model, that's expensive. Yeah. I think some of us would have checked this out. It is not going to be cheap. When you use ChatGPT, and all of us have tried, right? The key thing there is the context, right? The context is the prompt. You prompt it. So if you think about it, if we want to use ChatGPT, how would we do it? The prompt, the context would have to be our entire code base. Currently, it's about 30 million lines of code. That's not viable. So what we do now is we have a program to write an AI to narrow context. So it's an AI to use an AI. And that's the approach that we have taken. I'm not sure where it would take us, but I thought it was very interesting. And it was completely generated internally, because our programmers are excited about ChatGPT. So I said, okay, this on your off time, try this. Yeah, so perhaps in 1 year, I might have something more to talk on that. But I thought, it's cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you already touched upon some very good initiatives, large language models, collaborating with tools to build more specific tools, OCR, computer vision, also about claims, fraud reduction. And it seems like there's lots already going on from a data science, machine learning, or if you can, AI technologies adoption standpoint. And many of these are open source technologies. Many of these are available in our hands, but also in the hands of adversaries. And that brings me to the next question to you, Kang Siong, is what are some of the concerns you have from a nation state, from a macro level perspective when tools like ChatGPT, identity impersonation, stable diffusion, etc., can be used with a bad intent? What happens then? What are some of the concerns regarding technology in the hand of an adversary that you can enlighten us on, please?
Yes. Yeah, it's a very interesting question as of any type of technology. So depending on who uses it, so you can be on this side or the other side. So definitely the adversary is going to make use of this type of technology. One of the potential use case is they will be able to generate face that looks almost like the real person. Not only they can generate the picture, they can also generate a video. So when you do the eKYC, sometimes you need to prompt the person on the other side to say some words and so on and so forth. So with the advancement in AI technology, it actually makes that attack much easier. So which means that the eKYC part of it, the remote verification, or biometric in general, that relies on video and audio, even voice, they can mimic a real human voice, almost undetectable. So these are the challenges that are facing in the area of impersonation. You can also, I think in insurance side, you have false claim, forged document, so on and so forth. So that is on the actual application side. The other type of attack is maybe internally, rather that is sometimes the things like ChatGPT or AI model, they are being trained, it's not being programmed. So when it's being trained, there are certain situations that it might create some biasness and so on and so forth. So you might not be able to explain why the AI gives you certain type of results. And if we are too reliant on that without human intervention, that could pose a challenge. for the stability of the system, and in some extreme case, it can create a safety issue as well. So these are some of the challenge we foresee in adopting the AI technology.
Absolutely, thank you. I think very well laid out macro view on some challenges. Trevor, so as volume, velocity, type of fraud may change, do you see that because of AI tools? Do you see a different kind of fraud attack vector when it comes to claims or other frauds? What is your view from an insurance industry standpoint, please?
Yeah, I think definitely AI in this sense is a double-edged sword, right? And what we are seeing is like an arms race. So the example I gave just now of using photographs and videos. Now, photographs and videos can be forged very successfully with AI tools, and all of us have played around with this or seen the result of that, right? And on the flip side, AI is also used to detect the fakes. So in that sense, that's the arms race. But in some sense, this is a continuation. It has always been this situation, right? Technology cuts both ways. And I think that is the current state of the
Absolutely.
technology. Yeah.
I think we need to find a way to fight fire with fire, so how do we stay ahead in this cat and mouse game? So the other side, the corollary to this question, so if we see all of this, how do you see the role of industry, startups, other government agencies collaborating together to create a more safer ecosystem for us to move from Web 2 to Web 3 or use more of AI? Some of your thoughts, please, on that, Kang Siong.
Yeah, I think MOSTI has published a national AI roadmap and also a national blockchain roadmap. So inside that document, they emphasize on a collaboration, a quadruple helix, where the government, the industry, academia, and most importantly, the society has to come together in creating a collaboration mode, and so that we create a positive spiral in developing the AI, not only at the technological level, but also at the public awareness level. And when you use AI, what are the precautions you have to put in place? And we have to let the public be aware of the limitation of AI, what are the risks, potential risks that AI can pose, and be able to kind of educate the public that when you interact with AI, for example, ChatGPT, it is just a reference. It is not the truth in that sense. So these are the things that we have to collaborate by all these four parties together to create a more harmonious society as well as a safer society.
Absolutely, thank you. I think those are some of the things we also say in the cybersecurity world, to stay alert against scams, don't click on things which you don't recognize, don't reply to messages or numbers you do not know about. And I think those are the starting points of how it's done. But I think the cost and the effort to create a scam has really come down because a lot of these tools are available open source. And I think that's a differentiating factor now when new technologies become easily available.
Yeah, exactly. The type of scam sometimes is being designed by AI. So be careful that the scam will hit on the weakness of human weaknesses. And now we are actually up against technological advanced adversary.
We spoke briefly about that it's been like this, Trevor, that it's been a catch-up game or a cat and mouse game for some time. Now, when it comes to using AI-based, machine learning-based technologies to fight fraud, what are some of the practical challenges that you encounter when you use them? How can we overcome some of these challenges when it comes to adopting an AI technology in fraud mitigation?
I think that is a question nearest and dearest to our hearts, the practical aspects. Ultimately, we made products that is used by customers. So fraud detection tool is a product that we provide our customers. And I think, to me, the practical aspects, I would like to highlight two. One is, we always say data science, and the data part is the unsexy part. It's the dirtier part, the unsexy part. And I think in today's, before lunch, I think Christine from the Niagara National highlighted that a few times, and that really resonated with me because that's our experience. Collecting and cleaning the data is hard work, but it is the foundation of all data work. And our approach is a little bit different. What we did was we provided the claim system, the policy system, so we have a natural conduit to collect the data, and not just the data generated by the insurance companies, but by the whole ecosystem surrounding the insurance. And I think that helped us a lot. But ultimately, I think data is something that is really the foundation, yeah? And this is not something that people like to talk about because it's really hard work. The second part, I think, is touched upon by Kang Siong just now about the ethics. But from the practical point of view, one aspect of the ethics is explainability. So I think maybe some of us have seen chess computers work, right? Even though you are very good, you're the number one chess player in the world, you actually cannot explain why the computer made that move. And similarly for fraud, for example, for fraud, right? Sometimes our AI highlight the fraud. If we just highlight and red flag, the human who eventually need to investigate and take action will get frustrated because they have no idea why the AI said this, yeah? So for us, actually a huge effort is on the explainability aspects of the AI. To the extent we have, built in the product is in fact two AIs. One is actually to highlight, the other one is purely for explainability. So it is almost like double the work, but we believe that it's crucial because trust, if you cannot explain, you tend not to trust. You don't trust, you don't adopt. That's one. Second is bias. Yeah? The AI is trained on data that's existing. If there are bias in the data, for example, discriminatory bias, that's not good. Yeah? No group of humans like to be discriminated against. We won't catch it if we do not seek explanation as to why the AI behaves in a certain way. Yeah.
Great points. Explainability, having strong data science and the hard work around it, and making sure that you can bring the insights. So those are essentially some of the practical challenges or practical effort which could be cross-team collaboration across data science, IT, business, etc. When you start on a program or this fraud detection using AI program, how should the success be measured? What should be some of the measures of success of a good fraud prevention program? What are some of the metrics or KPIs business leaders or fraud leaders should look into?
That is such a good question for us. It's really a very good question. The reason is like this. Honestly, we sometimes get a little bit frustrated because you have seen these claims of AI being 95% accurate, 99% accurate. And accurate here is used in the English sense. Accurate in data science sense is something very specific. But let's take fraud prevention, fraud detection again. You would think accurate here means if there is 100 fraud, you catch 99. Yeah, that's 90%, 99% accuracy. You red flag 99. So people claim 90, 95. But here's the thing. I can tell you, we can catch 100%. And I think, wow, that's such a big claim. And here's the trick. If I flag 100% of claims, I catch 100%. Is that practical? Not at all, because you get frustrated with the work generated by the AI. Of course, the 100% flagging 100% is a fake edge case that I've used. But the trade-off remains, yeah? The more aggressively you flag, the more fraud you catch. But that doesn't make sense because then you are creating a lot of work investigating.
Yeah.
Yeah? So the metric has to be a lot more careful. From the data science perspective, there are more sophisticated technical metrics, which I'm not going to go into. Those that are important to us, just for the technically curious or the data science in the crowd, would be, of course, recall, precision, and F1. But I think the best metric ultimately is dollar. Follow the dollar, yeah?
Yeah.
So it will be, if I do not have this AI, what is the situation? If I have the AI for fraud detection, what is the situation? And be careful, because when the AI flag a fraud, it means the humans have to act, and the action means money. So you have to keep track of all the money correctly.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the best KPI, and that's what we encourage our customers to measure us on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. Having worked in the fraud space for many years now, I think looking at what is the comfort level of how much fraud business can work with, and how do you design your metrics around catching fraud but at the right economic value for the business becomes very important, and the right other metrics around reputation and user experience. So those are some very practical insights. I would like to invite you, Kang Siong, for your inputs just on some of the KPIs and then inputs mentioned by Trevor, but also moving from Web 2 to Web 3, we've spoken a lot about AI, but blockchain has been spoken about for over 10 years now. I would like to understand from a macro industry IT standpoint for MIMOS, how do you view blockchain for Malaysia? Any interesting projects you would like to highlight from a blockchain standpoint as well?
Yeah, for blockchain, it is slightly new, 10 years back. And the difference between blockchain and conventional database is there is something called consensus mechanism. So there's a trade-off between using a conventional database versus blockchain in the way that blockchain, you need that extra layer of consensus to be able, before the data is being written into the chain. And that trade-off, actually, it may not fit in all situations. So because the blockchain was created when you do not trust anybody, each party do not trust each other. So that's why you create that extra layer of consensus mechanism to make sure when the data is written in, it is verified to be modified, and any modification will be detected. Versus conventional database, where in situation where you have a trust authority or someone trusts that, you can deposit that information in the common database. So remember, there's a trade-off. The trade-off is computation, power, and resources, which means that you need to create more nodes. So our view of blockchain is it may not suit all the situation, but in certain situations where there's no trusted authority, this is where the blockchain is used. One example, the most recent one we had with the government of Malaysia is on the vaccine management system, where we actually track the supply of vaccine. So all your COVID-19, government pay for it. So government needs to ensure that the vaccine is traced all the way and to prevent any leakages along the way, illegal selling, and be able to track that which vaccine goes to which person. So we created a QR code, and those information at every stages is written in the blockchain. And at the end of the day, when you get your vaccine, you scan the QR code and it will do a matching at the end. And it's valid, then you will be issued vaccine certificates. So these are some clear examples where in situation or high risk, we do not trust each other, not even the system administrator of handling the data, or database, you just go in and make changes. So that is a situation where you need to build in that extra trade-off just to make sure that you achieve certain properties. So that's it.
That's a great example about the vaccines and being on blockchain, because in some ways we've all been touched by a blockchain project without knowing about it. So that's a great government-led initiative example. In closing, Trevor, your views, how far are we in large blockchain adoption for insurance? Do you see it coming, if at all?
Yeah, I think same sentiments as Kang Siong. Really, that you need to have the right use case for it. I like to give this example. Yeah, a few years back, we looked at acquiring a company in UAE, and they make software for insurance. It resides. The database is in a blockchain, and looks interesting. But when we actually dig in, we realize their blockchain is one node. So that doesn't make sense, yeah? And then we realize actually they're doing the blockchain thing not because of good technical reasons, not because there is a business use case for this, but ultimately because this is what people want to hear. So I think that would be the negative example. That's not good. Positive examples really would have been what Kang Siong said for the vaccine. It's something that you don't have a trusted party to hold the data. And if that's the case, then you bite the bullet, because ultimately there is that trade-off. Yeah? Blockchains are more expensive. They are computationally a lot less efficient than traditional database. So I think that it boils down to that. Yeah.
great insights. I think we've just run out of time, so we won't be able to take audience questions. But very insightful panel. I think we really went into some of the brass tacks of AI and fraud prevention, so I really appreciate your insights, Trevor and Kang Siong. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.